Hey guys, Clear Blue Realty coming back at you with another video. Hey, do me a favor, hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. So today I have a couple of topics that I want to talk to you guys about. And I think they're very important, trying to get some information out there about the realty business. I'm a real estate agent in New Jersey, and I've been doing this for 3 years, but I really started to pick up my activity over the past, I would say, year and a half. And I also wanted to drop this in there. Last year, I made about $10,000. That was my first real year. I did it part of the year, I would say about half the year, maybe like 40% of the year I was doing real estate. And so I brought in $10,000 gross. After expenses, that's more like about $7,000. So my expenses right now, and this is just a general number, my expenses are about $2,000 to $3,000 because you have to pay an MLS fee. You have to have access to get to your MLS. You have to pay for your NAR fees. In New Jersey, it's NAR, National Association of Realtors, and that's so you can get access to Supra, so you can get inside of some of these homes to be able to get access inside there. And so you pay for MLS, and then you also have insurance that you pay, and some other fees that I might be missing out. But typically on a yearly basis, you're between $2,000, $3,000 just in fees that you're paying to be a realtor. So you got to hit that quota. And typically you can get that by selling about 1 or 2 houses. So that is a little snapshot about just the expenses. Last year I made about $10,000 after expenses, probably about, somewhere between $6,500, $7,000. And that was my first serious year of doing real estate. So that's just a note to you guys who are thinking about getting into the business. So what I want to talk to you guys today about is the services that you provide, because when I first went into the business, I really didn't have a strong understanding of, as a real estate agent, what services, defined services you're going to be providing during a deal. So number one, and this is just on the buyer side for the most part. On the buyer side, if you're an agent representing a buyer, you typically take them out to show them houses. I actually let the buyers meet me at the location. I know you watch these videos you see on TV where the agent is driving the person around, but especially during COVID, you're not going to be typically driving people around. To me, you can get a lot of germs that way in your car, and you don't know, you're meeting new people, so you don't know if they're sick, and you just don't want that. So typically we meet at the location. I think that's better and that's safer for everyone. So there's expense incurred from that, driving around a location. Some people within a day will show 5 or 6 properties. I typically keep it around 3 to 5 locations that I'm going to show one person on one day. The properties I'm going to show. So the service I provide is helping that person during the home search. So the home search has a couple different layers to it. Physically, you're taking them out to show them houses. Then you're doing searches when you are in front of your computer in your office, looking for homes for this particular person, this buyer, this man, woman, husband, wife, whoever. So that's one service that you're providing. And that also might include getting certain information that you don't see listed on the MLS. So information gathering is always a part of the process. But I would say step number one is helping them find a home as a buyer's agent. Number 2 is negotiation. So once your buyer finds a place that they like, that they love, or they want to move into the home, you're now going to be presenting an offer. So to me, that's part of the negotiation process. You present an offer. They want the seller is asking for $200,000. Your buyer says they want to pay $180,000. And also in this particular market, typically you are offering what the person is asking for or more. Typically, so you're going to want to inform your buyer of that. And that's all. It's a communication process, guys. This is what you're doing as an agent. It's a lot of communication. So talking to your buyers, I always have this pre-talk with buyers. What's the current market situation? What is the current market heartbeat at that particular time, so that I can inform them and let them know this is what market conditions are like. You want to put a strong offer in. So the negotiation process is talking to your buyer, informing them of the current market conditions, presenting offers, negotiating, and then just knowing how to negotiate. You got to know how to negotiate when you're presenting these offers. It's not just a simple process of, okay, put in the offer. You got to have the right wording. You want to try to make a connection with the listing agent or the seller. If the listing agent is going to be presenting that offer to the seller, you got to use the right wording. And I'm at the phase right now where I just had a buyer call me yesterday, and a lot of people just want to call and get information. And I said, look, my time is valuable too. So I'm going to be starting a consulting business. It's in its infancy stage, on what you need to do in order to, when someone is calling you just for information, because you're doing a lot of consultation in this business as well. When people just want to gather information, they don't really want to give you a sale or actually go forward with purchasing anything. They just want to be on the phone with you for an hour asking you questions about, hey, how do I get a foreclosure? And I told the guy yesterday, I said, hey, look, I got a consulting business, and I would actually be charging you for this information, because he wanted to know what it was like, what's the process like to get a foreclosure. I'm like, okay, well, and this is not just to sound like, we are money hungry, but in this business, you spend a lot of time just giving information. Just want to let you guys know that. So that's something that you might want to consider as well. So your time is valuable. So negotiation process, negotiating the price, trying to see if you can get a offer to go through for less than what the actual seller or listing agent thinks the property is worth. But in this market, it's really tough trying to get sellers to come down on their price. There has to be like something wrong with the property. It has to be on the market for a particular period of time. Typically, if the house is on the market over 30 days, there's something wrong with it. In this market, that's unsaid rule. If you go and look at a property and the property's been on the market for over 30 days, probably some issue with it. It might look good in the pictures, but I tell you, I've been through some deals, and they're not all just laid out, golden road that leads up to a pot of gold. So there's some bumps and some hitches in there. So that's number 2. Number 3, you have to provide some resources to your buyer. So here's the things. Do you know any good construction companies? Do you know any companies that can do repair, plumbing, electrical, heating? You want to build up those resources and have those numbers on hand, because at some particular point during the deal, especially if you're doing FHA might come back, do inspection. They say, hey, there's some cracks here. There's some cracks in the floor. There's some cracks in the foundation. Those have to be fixed. Do you know a good foundation guy? Your buyer's going to say to you. Do you know somebody who could do electrical and fix up these wires? Because FHA is not going to allow this to pass. So you got to have resources. You got to have some lawyers on deck. You got to have some inspection companies on deck. Typically, you want to refer them 3 lawyers. You want to refer them 3 inspection companies. But you have some people that do really good work, and you could add them to the list as well. Got to have your resources lined up, guys. If you don't have the resources lined up, your buyer's going to look at you and say, hey, you've been doing real estate for so long, and you don't have all of these, a Rolodex, not a Rolodex, guys, but just a list of names, some contacts in your phone of people that I can call to get this type of work done. You gotta, to be competent in your field, you have to have that. So that's number 3. Number 4, you got to give your buyers a CMA, comparable market analysis. You got to be able to compare that home that they're looking to buy with other homes in the area, 2-mile distance, that have comparables, bedroom, square footage, updates, and be able to give them a number, which is basically an estimate of the value of their property, so that they know that what they are going to be offering for that property is comparable to the market average. So that's one of the services that you provide. So home search, negotiation, provide resources, give a CMA. Those are some services that you have to provide. That's number 4. Number 5, you're just basically an information resource. So any information that you can give to your buyer about, like what I do for, especially for first-time home buyers, what are the steps and processes you go through when you are going to buy a home? I have about like 10, 11 steps and some timelines so that they know this is what's happening at each particular point during the process of when you're buying your home. So here's step number 1. That's the offer, or that step number 1 could be going around to find the actual house. 1 through 10 or 1 through 12, whatever you put together as far as those steps. And your information resource, they want to know, has the person who's selling the home ever do they have a list of some deficiencies? Have they ever done any work inside of the home and fixed anything? And you want to be able to reach out to the listing agent and ask them, like, hey, have they ever repaired that the pipes underneath the sink? Things like that. Just in general. There's many different questions that'll come up during the process of buying a home, right? And some of the extras. So to me, this is sort of, so we got 5. It's probably a little bit more, but extras that you provide. 5 steps, but what extras do you provide? And this is one that just recently came up for me. So I was helping a person who was in New York buy a property that was in New Jersey. I'm local to this particular area, and they were buying the home. So it was stated that the buyer needed to purchase or get the certificate of occupancy. It's about a $225 fee. So this buyer was an investor. He never comes out to New Jersey. He just wanted to buy the house and then rent it. So he's not coming out to New Jersey. So I said, I could get the certificate of occupancy, and you got to go down to the municipal office for that particular township and go online, fill out the application, pay a $225 fee, set up you have to set up a scheduled appointment. Then they come out and they take a look at the house and inspect it. So I did all of that work. And why did I do it? Number 1, because I could. Number 2, because he's not coming out to New Jersey to do that type of work, and he's not going to be available. And if I didn't do it, the deal would have probably fallen apart. But that's some of the extras. But you do a lot of other extras when you're trying to get a deal to go through. That's just one of them. I heard a story that there was a real estate agent who actually went and cleaned up, help a person move out of their house, and got a moving company and went there himself and put on his belt. Look, let me tell you, the last deal that I did, just closed last month, I saw the listing agent at the house with one of those weight belts on, helping the person move their stuff out because they couldn't get all their stuff moved out in time for closing. So would you ever do that? It depends on you. That's not in your job description. And I'll tell you, there was one deal that I did one time, and the lady was really rude. She was a rude lady. She would curse. And I'll tell you, that was early on in my real estate career. And she would curse through text, and she was just very vulgar. And I was like, I would never allow that today. So nowadays I'm very selective on the person. That when I see that personality start to develop and grow, I cut it off real quick. But she felt like she could get away with that because she got away with it in the beginning. But anyway, so she was very disrespectful. She just said some things. So one day she was doing some research. We were going through the deal, and she found something online about her house. And she said, "Hey, did you know that this house was at one time like a meth house, and it was on the news?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't know." And she's like, "Well, you should know this. You're an agent. I'm like, "Well, why should I know that? Do you think I'm going and checking news articles about your house? Why would I go and check that out? Why would I?" And she was like, "Well, as an agent, you should know that." And this is the other thing too. She was a lawyer. No, she wasn't a lawyer. She was a paralegal, and she worked in a lawyer's office. So she did a lot of due diligence and checking and just doing some research about the house. And after that, I said, hold on. I said, she kind of had me on the ropes a little bit, because I was like, is this a part of my job to go on the internet and check news articles about your home? And till this day, no, that's not my job. My job is to work on your deal, to get you the best possible price. I'm here to be an information resource about all things real estate, but it's not my responsibility to check on the news about your place that you're buying. If you happen to find something, and look, tell me in the comments if you think I'm wrong. But to me, it's not my job to go and check news articles, and I will recalibrate if people think that that's part of my job. It's not. And that's when I said, let me pull up some information about what the stats or what the information says out there as far as what services I'm supposed to provide as a real estate agent for a buyer or a seller. Any information is good. If I came across that information, of course I would tell her. But so guys, this is what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. So what you need to do is really define to your buyers and your sellers, these are the services that I provide. This is what I do for you, so that we don't go out of context with one of your buyers and your sellers and they're trying to point the finger at you like, well, hey, you didn't do this for me. You didn't tell me about this. This is what I provide. Let me show you. This is what I do for you. And I do it very well. So, hey guys, thank you for tuning in today to the Clear Blue Realty channel. I appreciate your time. Hit the like button, comment, subscribe. I'm trying to grow this channel. Stick with me on this journey. It's a wonderful journey. And I'm glad that I am talking to some of you people out there and I can help you. Hey, you can help me too. All right, guys? Keep your head up. Stay positive. See you next time. Peace.